You don't really have to be a conspiracy theorist to see that something big is happening in the world, that something is going on. Uh, you know, we used to think that, right, that if someone said there would be a camera everywhere you went watching you, and that everywhere you went someone was listening to you, 20 years ago, we would have called that person crazy. But now, today, we have cell phones, and those cell phones can listen to us. Those cell phones can record us. They have video cameras. We have Alexas in our home that can listen to us at any time. We have cameras in our home that can watch us at any time. You can't go anywhere without being filmed. And what's funny is 20 years ago, we thought that was just a talk of a crazy person. And now it's come to fruition. Okay? You look at people and how they've sort of gotten bigger, stronger, faster. They're maturing faster. Have you seen how and I'm not trying to hate, but have you seen, women are getting more robust, right? And it's like, what is causing this? Well, you see, what happened about 20 years ago is they actually started using a lot of GMOs. They started pumping the meats that we consume full of hormones and steroids. And then in return, when we consume these meats and we consume these veggies and fruits, we're consuming those GMOs, those hormones, those steroids. And think about it, right? Why would you do this? Because they want to produce a cow that matures as fast as possible, that grows a very large cuts of meat, that is bigger, stronger, more muscular, right? So that they can make more money and faster. And we've seen this with them trying to genetically modify chickens, where they actually are creating chickens with 6 legs, with 8 breasts, to get more meat to make more money, right? And you think about, right, mind control. You look around and, we've always talked about a zombie apocalypse, but look around you, man. People seem brainwashed, and you wonder, like, things that 20 years ago we would have questioned, people are saying now that it's okay, it's all right. And you see these people walking around and they're almost like zombies. They're barely living. They're depressed. They're on antidepressants and drugs, and it's like they're very living. They're not even living. And I'm not trying to hate, but the zombie apocalypse has happened. When you think about all these people that just kind of walk around and are following along, and just, so zonked out of their minds, full of pharmaceuticals, that they don't even realize what's going on. And, it's not even a conspiracy anymore. And I start to think, and that's another thing, that I wanted to talk about, because it's like, have you noticed in the past, 10, 15, 20 years, like, after the 2000s, really, movies started to decline, right? And it feels like movies and music just really declined. And it's not as good as it once was in the 80s, the 90s, the 70s, right? And it's like they're not creative anymore. They're just throwing movies together and putting actors in it that everybody likes, but they don't have a great story, right? They don't make sense. And we've seen this huge decline in creativity. We no longer have like very artistic movies or music anymore. It's all the same sound, right? We see all the same type of movies. They want everything to be the same, and that's what they've been trying. I think that's the agenda, is to make us all the same, to have no creativity. And I think that's their biggest push, is to take away our individuality. And we don't promote that anymore. We don't promote people to be themselves. We teach, everyone, our young to follow the trend, to follow the crowd. And if you're not along with everybody else, if you're not following everybody else, then there's something wrong with you. Then you're crazy. Then there's something not right. And I think that we need to realize that we are essentially teaching that we no longer should have our own individuality, that we should be our own person, that we should be creative. And every year they create these new trends for us to follow. And we do follow them. And that's, once again, what I talked about, these brainwashed zombies. People follow these trends. You know, everybody's on TikTok now. And they keep us so distracted that we have no idea what's going on. Do you realize that even drugs, right? They started coming around the 60s, the 70s. But the whole idea of drugs at first were researched by the military to be weaponized. And, you know, drugs going back thousands of years ago were created essentially to control empires, to control armies. I think about Nazi Germany, man. Think about the Romans. You know, they were giving their soldiers heroin, and they were giving them cocaine and all these other drugs to control them, to have the ability for them to fight longer, and sort of not realize what they were doing or what was going on. And that's, you know, sort of to take the human out of them and to keep them distracted. And I believe drugs were introduced into society to distract us, to create a distraction, to get us so zonked out that we would become like zombies and we could be controlled, and that we would have no power and we'd lose sort of our humanity, the human inside of us, and become lifeless. You know, and it's just what has been happening is they've introduced, I feel like, drugs, and I feel like they've slowly started to dumb down society, take away creativity, make people do these TikToks and these things. We no longer are intellectual. History Channel, Discovery Channel, right? The History Channel really never shows historical documentaries anymore. It's all reality TV. Same with the Discovery Channel. And remember when they used to actually teach us things about life, and about, biology and the earth. And the History Channel used to teach us about historical stories and how, we came to be here in these different countries, and how the world was shaped by the history of the earth. But we don't see that on the History Channel anymore. All we see are these reality TV shows that, are not history, are not, science. Everything they're doing is to dumb us down. And you just have to look closely, because you will see it's no longer conspiracy anymore. And that's all you have to do, is look into this, and you will start to see maybe that conspiracy theorist guy, he was actually onto something,